Hello, this is a quick orientation video as part of the Basic IMA training course, helping you prepare for the upcoming IMA regional workshop. How to use data and evidence when making IMA proposals. The Marine Mammal Protected Areas Task Force has defined an IMA as a discrete portion of habitat important for one or more marine mammal species that has the potential to be delineated and managed for the purposes of conservation. As you can see from this definition, IMAs are areas in the marine environment, as well as adjacent freshwater or terrestrial environments, that is individually separate and distinct from its surroundings. Therefore, these areas must be clearly drawn on a map with a boundary that can be implemented into action using legal or other voluntary means. The IMA identification process relies on specially produced criteria and guidance, which is publicly available via the Task Force website. This guidance was created in consultation with over 1,000 marine mammal experts across conferences, workshops, and online surveys. These criteria include Criterion A on species or population vulnerability, Criterion B on distribution and abundance, which relates to the habitats associated to small and resident populations, as well as aggregations for a species. Criterion C, key life cycle areas, which relates to areas actively used for the purposes of reproduction, feeding, and migration. And finally, Criterion D, special attributes relating to areas containing certain distinctive characteristics, as well as those supporting a diversity of marine mammals. In addition, during the consultation on the creation of the IMA selection criteria, other parallel expert workshops and focus groups were undertaken to determine which types of information are likely to be most useful for being able to draw an appropriate boundary for an IMA. This included the listing of primary and secondary currencies of information which could be used in IMA identification alongside the 4 IMA selection criteria. So here are some example scenarios which could be used during an IMA workshop by participants to draw or refine existing boundaries for their candidate proposals. This follows the principle of examining evidence, drawing an envelope or a line around those areas which meet the selection criteria, and then buffer with a boundary of least complexity connecting these areas together. In example A here, we have data in the form of aggregated points, which could be visual sightings or acoustic detections, and those two parts with the highest aggregation of points are selected within the envelope. For the final boundary suggestion, the experts have drawn their area to contain both the aggregations seen in the sightings or acoustic detections in a single area to be proposed as an IMA. In example B, we have the same data as used in example A, but this time the experts have performed a further level of analysis, in this case a habitat suitability model, which was predicted the probability surface in the form of a raster or a grid. The envelope was determined statistically this time using a conservative percentage threshold of the plotted probability surface. For the final boundary suggestion, the experts have drawn their area to contain all of this area as well as a straight line section to simplify the shape. Finally, we have example C, where once again we have the same data as used in examples A and B, but this time the experts have performed another level of analysis, in this case a density model based on sightings and searching survey effort, which has predicted the density surface in the form of radiating polygons. The envelope was made using a query-based spatial bounding box, using the polygon values to draw the matching query expression. For the final boundary suggestion, the experts have simply included a precautionary buffer area around that already selected by the analytical methods used previously. Again, this information is all included in the guidance drafted in consultation with marine mammal experts in the research and conservation communities. Here we have a variety of differing areas proposed for multiple species based on a range of spatial mapping methods and habitat features, documented presence and density modelling. Furthermore, we have an example of what could be a larger IMA proposal that could contain all the areas of information and criteria being assessed if these are relatable to each other, such as using common currencies of data, for example, or similar species. Please also remember that the marine environment is also not a two-dimensional place, but a complex three-dimensional environment where different species may utilize different depths of the water column or near-shore surface substrates. So drawing a boundary isn't simply making a circle, but a process to make the best fit around the information we have available to assess. Here are some examples of different IMAs that have been identified to date, and these are included in the IMA guidance document as well. More examples can be found on the Task Force's dedicated Important Marine Mammal Area, or IMA, e-atlas as well. So in summary, IMAs are areas in the marine environment, as well as adjacent freshwater or terrestrial environments, that is individually separate and distinct from its surroundings. IMAs must be clearly drawn on a map with a defensible boundary relying on evidence that could be implemented into action using legal or other voluntary means. IMA guidance for the identification of important marine mammal areas were drafted in consultation with over 1,000 experts within the marine mammal research and conservation community. And finally, through expert workshops and focus groups, a list of primary and secondary currencies of data and information were assessed as useful for the further identification of IMAs. Thank you for watching this part of the IMA Basic Training course to help prepare you for the IMA Regional Expert Workshop. Please watch the other parts of the Basic Training course series to learn more about the IMA program and the aims of the workshop.